The first question that we have is from Anu. As you can see, it is a finding error question. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to this question, right? Jayesh loved his guru immensely. That's part A. And gave him fullest loyalty. That's part B. Yet he had his own. That's part C. Independent way of thinking. That's part D. Right? So 4 parts. And we need to figure out which part has the error. Right? So some of you are coming back and saying it's part 2. I thought I saw somebody saying part 4. So a lot of you are coming back and giving me 2 options. So basically the options I see is B and D. So let's quickly look at it, right? Jayesh loved his guru immensely. Let's look at the first part. So the action word here is loved, right? So immensely, which we know is an adverb, it has the suffix ly, which is only intensifying the verb loved, right? It is answering the question to what extent this person loved his guru immensely, right? So the first part seems fine. Immensely, the adverb intensifying the verb loved makes sense. There is no error in part A. And gave him fullest loyalty. So here, second part, it sounds kind of funny, right? I have loyalty. Obviously, this word here is an adjective describing the loyalty or giving me additional information about the loyalty, right? And if you notice, it is in the superlative form, right? We know the degrees of comparison. We have the positive degree, we have the comparative degree, and we have the superlative degree, where we know that superlative usually I have the adjective, right, with est, right, the dash whatever, right? So here obviously I need a word that usually connects or associates itself with loyalty. Lastly, I just put it on full screen mode and change the resolution. You'll have no problem. Yeah, so gave him fullest loyalty seems or sounds a little weird or funny. So let's just take the word loyalty alone, right? What word can I usually associate loyalty with? You think of other adjectives, right? Think of other adjectives. Usually when I say loyalty, think of other adjectives that go with loyalty. Right? I can say somebody gave undivided loyalty. Right? That's a collocation. When I say collocation, I'm talking about group words. Complete, undivided means nothing but complete or total. Right? Complete loyalty, undivided loyalty. This is one collocation. So basically, I'm talking about adjective plus noun collocations. Right? That's what we are looking at right now. So for those of you who are new, collocations are nothing but 2 or 3 words that go together usually, right? Because we've seen that in various contexts. People use that repeatedly. Yeah. And the other one is unswerving loyalty. Right? Unswerving means something that is very steady or constant. Right? Now for me, this fullest loyalty is not sounding right. Right? Either I have to anyway have to change the phrase in B. So I can say Jayesh loved his guru immensely and gave him his undivided loyalty or gave him his unswerving loyalty. That makes more sense. Anyways, hi Sandeep. Anyways, the phrase has to be complete. Right? So I can either say gave him his undivided loyalty or I can say gave him his unswerving loyalty. Right? These are the right collocations to go with loyalty. Fullest sounds weird or funny or it just doesn't sit right for me. At least, right? Or even if I have to keep fullest, okay, chalo, let's say fine. But for me, that's not the right word. Even if I have to use that, I still have to include this his. Gave him his fullest loyalty, but I would rather say if this question came in sentence improvement, right, and if there are options for the adjective, I will definitely not use fullest. I will either use undivided loyalty or unswerving loyalty, which is the more appropriate collocation or which is the more right collocation, right? And then move on. So we understand that part B has an error, but sometimes what happens is there is a sentence where there is more than one part that has an error. Unfortunately, hopefully we will not come across questions like this in our exam, right? If that is the case, I would rather advise you to skip it. But let's look at the next part. Yet he had his own. Yeah, Jayesh loved his guru immensely and gave him his undivided loyalty and gave him his unswerving loyalty. Yet he had his own independent way of thinking. Now, why most of you came back and said part D? Can somebody tell me? Some of you said, right, part D has an error. What is the error in part D? What do you need to do? You have to include something? Do you have to delete something? What do we need to do in part D? A lot of you said part D, right? What is the error in part D? Which means we are looking at superfluous words, right? I have own and then I have independent. Both convey the same meaning, right? I don't need both the words in this context. So own way of thinking is a more appropriate collocation, right? A more appropriate phrase. So I will delete independent. I don't need this word again, which is already giving me the meaning, right? Can you think of superfluous words like this? So when we look at one question, it is good for us to have an understanding of other superfluous words. Can you think of superfluous words? Two words that give the same meaning, and we actually use it in conversations and otherwise. Superfluous words or expressions. Blunder, mistake, okay? Think of return back. Yeah? I'm just going to write some examples. You also think of it. We actually keep using this without knowing that we're actually using two words that have the same meaning. So especially when things like, finding errors, it's good to know some superfluous words, so we'll be able to easily identify errors pertaining to superfluous words, right? Namrata says return back. Yes, that's a superfluous expression, right? I'm putting down some examples. You also think of examples. Repeat it again. Yeah, I've heard people say that. Right? It's a very conversational thing. More deeply. Look at all these words that I have put down also. Yeah, added bonus. Bonus itself means something in addition, right? Actual experience. Experience cannot be anything other than actual. Fundamental means basic. Dilemma. Dilemma is something where you're not able to decide, right? It's very difficult for you to come to a decision. Direct confrontation. Confrontation means head on. You are directly, either getting into a fight or debating with this person. Final outcome. Outcome is an end result, right? I want you to kind of keep these things in mind, right? So here basically in this question, we have two errors. One is in part B and the other one is in part D, okay? So we've understood that this is not the right collocation. Right? We have to add the expression gave him his and then add the right colloquial expression, which can be either undivided or unswerving. Right? And then we said part D, we don't need independent. Okay? Let's move on to the next one. Experience is something that happens in real. Right? Actual.